Hello, everybody. I think we are live here. How's it going? My name is Michael. Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Um, Welcome back. How's everybody doing? Yes, hello, Mahan. How's it going? Welcome in. Yeah, we are early today. I'm started early today, so hopefully we can go a little bit longer than usual, and we can get a lot done today. Welcome in, Mahan. Okay, so goals for today. I would really like to do 2 to 3 problems out of chapter 8 reinforcement, and then I would like to start chapter 9 reading. Now, we're not going to do what we did last time and just forget about the chapter 8 problems and just keep going into chapter 9. We need to stay on top of the problems. So, we'll just do two here, and then we'll continue on with the reading and do a couple of pages of reading. All right. Okay, let's get settled in here. Okay, if you guys remember, last time we left off on chapter 8, reinforcement of trees. We are going to continue that today. Our 6 keyed up high. Hey, Skyby. My dog is. Jeez. My girlfriend left, so my dog is all sad. Hey, Boom, welcome. We're reading Data Structures and Algorithms in Python. If you want access to this book, a PDF version, as well as all of my notes, feel free to access it and join my Discord linked below. Completely free. I provide a roadmap of all of my resources from the DSA in Python to Python Crash Course to everything that we've read so far on a stream. So, welcome everybody. For those that are new, my name is Michael. I'm 26 years old. I graduated with a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry. I work as a chemist, a formulation chemist for a biotech company here. I have been doing that ever since I graduated college back in 2021, and I've been trying to teach myself Python and just various other computer science topics for the past, 6 or so months. We've been making a lot of progress just in our own studying here. We made a lot of friends throughout the channel here, so thank you guys so much for joining me. We are really moving along. We passed 1.2K subscribers, so thank you everyone for following along. So yes, the Discord. I'll give you guys a little bit of a preview here. You can join my Discord here. Whoops, sorry. Let me go to my Discord. You can join my Discord here. It's a really great place to be. I've got a bunch of books here that we've been reading for Python so far. We've read Python Crash Course. I provide my notes and a copy of the book here. I have data structures and algorithm, which is currently what you see on the right side of my screen, as well as my GitHub repo, which is on the left side of my screen. And then eventually we're going to get into the Fluent Python book, as you see here. We have some HTML, CSS tabs for the Odin project that we've done, about half of. We have some, C plus community, so we've started to get into C. We have Harvard CS50. We've taken Harvard CS50P, and we're currently taking Harvard CS50X. So we have threads and everything regarding that. So we have a lot of collaboration going on. We have over 300, probably 350 people in the Discord so far right now. So really, really growing. Super awesome. You guys are really enjoying that. And I'm glad that those resources are coming in useful for everybody because for me, that's what I've done so far to get to this point. So we're going to do about 2 or 3 problems here of the reinforcement of chapter 8, and then we're going to start chapter 9. Like we do on this channel, we read the entirety of these books, and we really try to absorb this material. We're not in any rush. Um, we don't, we don't have any tests or a professor rushing us through this material week after week, so we can really take our time with it, absorb it, and make sure we learn it and understand it before we move on. So, if that sounds like something you guys are interested in, follow along here. Hey, Trent, what would you be advice for someone trying to learn Python for the first time? Yeah, I'm honestly, my advice would be to follow along here. We're learning it here live, demonstrating what it is like to be a beginner, an authentic point of view from a beginner. I felt that a lot of people were kind of sugarcoating what it was like to do this. I don't know why people wouldn't try to be honest. It is hard stuff. Coding and programming is hard. It's not for every. It's no. It is for everybody, but it is. It can discourage a lot of people when they start. So when I started, I felt a little discouraged because I was a new learning curve. But as I tried, I kept trying and trying and trying. I got better and better and better. And we have a long way to go still. But yeah, so I wanted to kind of convey a beginner perspective and what it's like and to study this from start to finish. There is no finish. So welcome, Trent. Um, yeah. So just if you go big like that, it makes it all big. It's just a Mac thing. If you just move it around to like I think it's because in case you like lose it, it tries to show show you where it's at. Like if you lose the cursor or something on the screen, you can't find it. If you just yeah, shows you where it is. All right, let's continue on here. So we are on 8-6. Again, you guys, all of these information can be found on my Discord, linked in the description um, that you see on my screen. Okay, let T be an n node binary tree. So we have a tree T that is n nodes, so any number of nodes that is a binary tree. So it has to have at most two children, or right, for each node. Besides, yeah, right, and then um, an improper binary tree. So that means that we have a few nodes with one child. Describe how we represent T by means of a proper binary tree T prime with O of n nodes. Well, this question is pretty vague. It's not like super. So I think it just wants us to understand what an improper binary tree is. So let's zoom in here for you guys. Um, an improper binary tree uh, is one where nodes, where in where nodes have just one child. In a proper binary tree, nodes that have children, nodes have either one or have either two or zero, we'll say zero or two children. Thus, keeping the binary aspect or feature. Okay. Hey, Script Serpent, welcome in, you guys. How's it going? If you guys are enjoying the stream so far and enjoy your time here, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Really helps YouTube to keep promoting the stream and getting people suggested in here. So if you're new, it really helps to get other new people and keep growing our community. We really like meeting all you guys. So, I mean, you could you could like um, recursively move through the improper binary tree and detect the number of children at each node. If not, if number of children is not 0 or 2, add a child to the missing to the said position, right? Hey, hello, oh, hello from Mexico. Hello, appreciate you coming in. Welcome. Uh, your name is kind of tricky, so you have something that I could refer to you by. I appreciate you for coming in. IA, welcome. This is Data Structures and Algorithms in Python. This book can be found in my Discord link below, along with a lot of other resources completely for free. Thank you so much for joining here. Okay, let's go ahead and take my answer here. Let's throw it in the almighty orb. I am going to give you an answer to my to a question. Can you provide some feedback on my solution? Your answer is on the right track, but needs some refinement in terms of clarity and correctness. Here's some feedback. Strengths: correct understanding of improper and proper binary trees. You correctly identify that a proper binary tree ensures each node has either 0 or 2 children. Recursive approach. Your idea of recursively traversing the tree to check the number of children is logical. Ideas for improvement. Clarify how to add the missing child. If a node has only one child, you need to introduce a dummy node to maintain the structure. Otherwise, simply adding a child without specifying its value or purpose could change the tree's meaning. If a node only has a left child, you should add a dummy right child to balance it. Explain why the transformation remains O of n. You traverse the tree once O of n, and in the worst case, introduce at most one new dummy node per existing node. Keeping it at a total of O of n time. Your answer should explicitly state the transformation still runs. Instead of add a child at node at said position, say if a node only has one child, if a node only has one child, insert a dummy node as the missing child to make it a proper binary tree. This approach would have O of n worst case running time as children would be missing children, will be added at each recursive at each visit added at each node. I don't really like how that's said, but let's just see what it says. Okay. Your revision is much clearer and more precise. Okay. As missing children will be added each visit node. Consider since each node is visited once. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Time complexity. Keep that. Since each node is divisible once, at most one dummy node is added per node, maintaining O of n time complexity. Okay, sweet. That was 8-6. Any questions on 8-6, you guys? How are we feeling on 8-6? And what are we working on out there? If you guys are studying, what are you guys studying? If you guys are doing work alongside me, what are you guys working on? What kind of projects are you building? If you're new here, tell me kind of what languages you know, what kind of what interests you in terms of programming and why you're here. Are you a graduate? Are you a CS major? Let me know more about you guys. Let's hear more about you. Hey, Giovanni, welcome in. Greetings from South America. Oh, wow, awesome. Where in South America are you from? You in Uruguay? Are you in Argentina? Are you in Brazil? Chile? Is Chile down? I think so. Where are you at? Hey Tim, how's it going? All right. Let's keep moving here. No Peru shout out. I'm gonna crash up. I'm sorry, Tim. My bad. My bad. Peru, Ecuador. Awesome. Giovanni, welcome in. What brings you in? What are you studying this evening? Welcome to the study session here. We're reading data structures and algorithms in Python. I have a degree in human bio and a minor in chemistry. I've just been teaching myself computer science independently for the past 6 months, trying to bypass the middleman of going back to college. So it's been really fun just doing this at my own pace. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so what are the minimum and maximum number of internal and external nodes in an improper binary tree with n number of nodes? Let me bring up my whiteboard. Okay, this is interesting. So let's say we have some root node. Okay, so you have to have some root. Okay, so an improper tree in the least form, minimum, right, would be one node with one child. This is an improper binary tree. What are the minimum and maximum number of internal and external nodes in an improper binary tree? So this would be the left child of the root, right? So just right off the bat here, the minimum number, well, both of these are considered external nodes, right? So the minimum number of internal nodes you can have is 0. The maximum you can have is what? N minus 2 for internal nodes. Internal node minimum would be 0. Right, because both of these are external. There is no node in between. You have a leaf and you have a root. So let's go maximum. So in an improper binary tree where we would have an internal node, we would have a root, a left child of the root, and then a single child, left child from that node there. So in total, n is 3 in this condition with one internal node. So this would be n minus 2 external node minimum. I guess, would it be either 1 or 2? The minimum maybe. So the external node maximum would be n minus 1 in this case for an improper. But minimum, both of these are external nodes. But what if we just have a singular root? Is that still considered a binary tree? Can have 0 or no children, right? So 1. That's just my idea. Let's go ahead and throw that in. All right. Your answer is mostly correct, but let's refine it with clear reasoning, correctness, and explanation. Internal nodes with at least one child. Minimum is 0 for internal nodes. This happens when all n nodes are leaves and no internal nodes. Got you. Maximum, correct and incorrect, should be n minus 2. I said n minus 2. Your answer of n minus 2 suggests that only 2 nodes are leaves, which is incorrect for an improper tree. The correct answer is n for... Oh. The correct maximum is n minus 1 because in maximally skewed improper trees, in like a linked list, every node except the last one is an internal node. Oh, so the root is an internal node. So what is the definition of an internal node? With at least one child. Okay, so the root is an internal node. N minus 1. This happens in the case of a perfectly skewed tree where I know one child. In this case, so it said n here, but why did it say n minus 1? Okay. All right, let's go one more. Let's go one more here. All right. Eight. Okay, proper 8. I'm just using the free one, John B. Welcome in. Appreciate you coming in. Just the free one for me. That's all I need. Nothing crazy. What brings you in, John? Welcome in. Glad you're able to find the stream here. All right, here we go. There. C. D. Here. Okay. Here we'll say log n plus 1 minus 1 less than or equal to h, which is less than or equal to n minus 1 divided by 2. Okay. Let's try this out. Hey, Wing Hong, welcome back. Better late than never, no worries. I started a little early today. You're all right, don't worry. Okay. Answer the following questions so as to justify Proposition 8.8. What is the minimum number of external nodes for a proper binary tree with a height h? Okay. So what is the minimum number of external nodes? So let's draw a proper binary tree here. So of height h. So we have a root node here, right? We come off of the root node, and we have 2 children. So the minimum number for a proper binary tree here, right? A root is just a proper binary tree. So let's ask, is a single node root a proper with 0 children a proper binary tree? Okay. Cool. So what is the minimum number of external nodes for a proper binary tree with height h? So then let's ask one more time. What then makes an external versus internal node? Internal node, a node that has at least 1 child, either 1 or 2 children. External node, a leaf, a node that has 0 children. So it has to be a leaf. So would a root with 0 children be external? Yes. Okay, great. So then the minimum number of external nodes for a proper binary tree of height h would be so in this case of a node with just a root, so in the case of a node with just a binary tree with only a root, it has a height of 0. Yes. So the minimum would be equal to height. Minimum number external nodes would be height plus 1, right? Because if the height is equal to 0 in this case, we have one node. Our n is equal to 1. So the minimum number of external nodes is height plus 1. So then B. What is the maximum number of external nodes for binary tree with a height h? So then let's say that we have an example of here of where we have two children coming off, and both of them are leaves. So this has a height of 1 and an n of 3. So then let's try it one more time. Let's make this go full down, full down. This now has a height of 0, 1, 2, and an n of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? So the number of external nodes, which is here, 4, is height so the maximum number of external nodes is going to be height times 2. Right? So if here you have one external node, 0 height, I mean, it's kind of an odd case. With the root, you just have 1. Height plus 1 is the minimum. Maximum you can have, right, would be 2 children coming off this for a total of 2, having height of 1, giving 2 times height. This is height times 2 for four external nodes, 2 times height, I think. Now C. Let the tree T be a proper binary tree with a height h and an n number of nodes. Show that the log of n plus 1 minus 1 is less than the equal to the height, which is less than or equal to n minus 1 divided by 2. Okay. Let's say that we have a tree. In this example here, we have a tree T of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nodes. So tree T, if n equals 7, right, and height is equal to, in this case, 2. Okay, we can prove this function here, or this expression. So the log of 7 plus 1 minus 1 is less than or equal to h, which would be 2, which is less than or equal to n7 minus 1 divided by 2. So this reduces down to 7 minus 1 is 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that's on the left side, or right side, sorry. We have 2 in the middle. Right? And then what do we have on our left side? So log of 8, so log base 2 of 8 2 to the power of what gives us 8? Well, 2 to the power of, what, 3? Minus 1 is 2. Makes that, which is true. Right? Make sure I did that right. um, log 7 plus 1 log base 2 7 plus 1 minus 1. Oh, wow. Let's go. Remembered my logs there. 2 to the power of what gives us 8. That's what that log means. So that equals true for a proper binary tree. So then in D, okay, for which values of n and h can the above, lower, and upper bounds on h be attained with the inequality? So n has to be, so if I did log, instead of, if n was 8, if height was 1, it would be 2. For which values of n and h can the above, lower, and upper bounds on h be attained with the inequality? So what about for a binary tree that was just like the triangle here, right? Just like the one above here. So this has 3 nodes with a height of 1. So 2 times height be 4 plus height be 6. Height squared be 4 plus height. No. Hey Ryan, how's it going? Welcome in. All right, let's go to the almighty orb for this one. I'm not going to waste too much time on this. So can be above the lower and upper bound. So if n was 8 here, it gives us log base 2 for 9, which would be 2 to the power of what gives us 9. Will be a little bit greater than 3. Which would not be true because it would be greater than. So what about n equals? So what about here? With 1, what about 0 and 0? So 0 minus 1 is 0, divided by 2 is 0, 0, that works. 1 and 1, 1 divided by 1, 0, 0, no. So the number of nodes always has to be greater than height, 2 times height. So what if it was, height was 2 and number of nodes was 3? So 3 minus 1 is 2, divided by 2 is 1. So that would not work. So about 4 minus 2 minus 1 would be 3, divided by 2, 1.5, height was 1. Height is 2, 4, 3. 2 height plus 1 nodes have to be on the upper bound. So if height is 1, nodes have to be n equals 2 height plus 1, maybe. So if height is 2, nodes would have to equal 5. 4 divided by 2 gives you 2. That's true. If height is 3, you'd have to be 6, or there's 2 heights, so 7, 6, 3, that equals true. If h is 4, you would have to be 9, 8 divided by 2, so yeah, you have to be 2h plus 1 on the upper bound. On the lower bound, I don't even really want to mess with this one. Right, 2h plus 1. So let's say you have h is 5. That means you have to have 11 here. 10 divided by 2 is 5. That is equal. All right, let's take this into the almighty orb here. Your answer is close but needs some refinements in the details. Let's go through each part carefully. The minimum number of external nodes in a proper binary tree of height h. So your answer, h plus 1. So justification, a minimum external node case occurs when a tree is imbalanced as possible while still being proper. Each internal node has exactly 2 children except the last level. In this case, the tree looks like a spindly, almost linear structure where each internal node has exactly 1 full subtree, leading to h plus 1. This is for a proper binary tree. 2 to the power of h. Because then if we went down one more, we would have 4 here. We'd go 2, 4, 6, 8 with a height of 0, 1, 2, 3. Two to the power of 3 is 8. Okay, yeah, so it's 2 to the power of h. We were close there. Really close. So, yep, we proved this. Your verification is correct. Lower bound. Here we go. For D, this happens when the tree is perfectly balanced, meaning every level is full. And it goes 2 to the power of h minus 1. Okay, so it'd be 2 to the power of h minus 1 for the lower bound. Two to the power of h plus 1? Hmm. For D, lower, is it to the power of H? Power of H plus 1 minus 1. To the power of H plus 1. Okay, cool. Nice. All right, we'll stop there for this study on data structures and algorithms in Python. If you guys are wanting my notes here on the left side of my screen, this is on my GitHub, linked below. And on the right side of my screen, this is in my Discord, linked below as well in the description. So you can access all of this stuff there. All right, let's go ahead and shift focus here onto the Small Business Manager project. All right. Cool. So we were working on the Small Business Manager project last time a few days ago. We successfully were able to convert. Now it's a Discord server pick. Yeah, we have to update the server pick here to the otter or whatever. um, so last time we were working on the Small Business Manager, we were successful in converting the items from a CSV to JSON. Right? So now we need to allow the user to declare, right, their categories and their methods for their expenses in the settings menu. So let's see what's going on here. We can run the program. Go in here, yes. Let me take this guy, bring it over here. Right, yes, going to, you can go to settings, business settings, edit name, new name, settings menu. Okay, that works. We can go to expense settings, add category, current expenses categories is just a set. Right. So we need to have the expense categories be saved within the business information. Right. So let's go to our business.py class. Let's add in my expenses class. I'm gonna remove this altogether. So let's go businesses.py. Let's go ahead and add in here a self.expense cat, right, which is going to equal a set. or dictionary. Expense settings, which is going to equal a dictionary. Inside the dictionary, we're going to have a value of categories, right? Which is just none, right? Which is going to be initialize categories on, right? And then we're going to have a methods, which is going to be an initialize methods function. Okay. Cool. That being said, we need to establish these functions. So let's do that. Let's do def initialize categories on the object itself. So, right, we're going to return a set of categories. Right? What data struct is unique and in order? There's a set, must remember the images to set a tree. Right. Then you can sort the set then. Hey, let's go. How's it going? Okay, so we can initialize categories here with the set. And then we'll say we need these to load. Right, we need these to have saved in the businesses.json file. So let's go to my function where I load and save. So we're loading businesses.json here. We load it and return what's loaded. If it's not found, we return what's not found. We return a blank. And if it's empty, we return a blank. We return a blank. So here then, and then in the save, it's just dumping it all. Business to dict. So we need to get the category information from shoot. How can we do this? No, if it's coming from the business file, I don't think we need to initialize categories. It'll just have been in here. Right? So if we're trying to just say it's going to dump all this information. All right, so this is just going to be a set then. And then this will also just be a set. What? So the categories we're sitting as a set. Okay, what do we need to do though? All we need to do is we're saying, okay, hmm. So all we're saying is that it's a set. So we'll say we'll update categories, and say given category a new cat, which is gonna be a string, and say if new cat in self dot expenses if new cat in self dot expense settings um, categories, right? Um, so if it's not in, right, then we're going to add it. New cat dot add, no, self dot expense settings categories dot add new cat, right? Else right? Right, with sets though, it'll automatically be added, and if it is already in there, it'll just skip over quietly. Um, and then we'll add the cat, and then we'll call sorted on self dot self dot expense settings categories, like so. Hey Muna, how's it going? Tim says, I'm starting to sweat, bro. That might get Fang offers. Need to recruit Big Mike to be my coworker. That's funny. I'm a long way from there, I think. I've got a long ways to go, but you guys are so nice. Um, Recently found out that I got into a top 50 U.S. college, top 20 for CS, but I don't even know if I want to do CS anymore. Oh, why not? Why don't you want to do CS? I thought you had a passion for it. So we'll sort else. Um, Categories, we'll say else raise value error, saying um, new category. New categories are within current categories, right? So that'll raise that error. So now what we can do is we'll go like this. In our settings menu, business settings menu, hold on, let's close all these. All right. So in our expense settings, we go. So then hold on, in our expense settings, so the add cat here is gone. Um, delete that. Delete that. So then in here we probably should do that as well. If not is instance of a the object is going to be the new cat str raise value error um, new category not of must be of type str. Um, I just don't know if I'm interested in doing it as a career. I need to think about it. Yeah, honestly, I don't blame you if you're having doubts about it, that's very valid. This is something that, you're investing a lot of money into and time into, so you want to make sure that it's something that you're passionate about for sure. Definitely. The market is also doesn't look great right now. I don't know about the future outlook. Maybe I'm considering engineering. It seems pretty different from CS though. By the way, that sorted is incorrect. Oh yeah, we need to use dot sorted, right? This sorted returns an object. So we want to use it on the instance itself with the dot sort like that. Thank you for let's go. Appreciate that. Um Yeah, Muna, I honestly, you need to try your best to filter out that doom and gloom. You know, it's hard, but just try your best. All right. So we're going to raise the value error if it's not a right. This will have to be an elif then. No, because we want this else statement to apply directly to this if statement, not to this. This will get raised, and no matter what, if this doesn't break, so the elif doesn't really make sense. So we'll sort. So then in here, when we go new category, we get input from the user. New expense category, press Q to quit. If the new expense, we clear terminal, else we go here, we're gonna go business dot add. Is it update category? Update categories. We'll make it add category. Add category. Um, New expense dot title on the category. Right. Else try and do this, except if you get a value error, right? Except you get a value error. We want to um, except if we get a value error, because it's going to throw us a value error for these two conditions. If it's not a string that they're trying to add, which it should be, and if it's not, if it's already within the category, this will get risen. So then if it gets rows here, risen, we would want to, we're catching it, say the value error will get printed. We'll then print, we'll gain input, user input is equal to input. We'll say error, press Q to quit, right? We'll say we'll do Well, user input. Will this even work because I'm not declaring user input before? So once user input breaks, um, Q will have to go to back to expense settings, like so. So now if we go here, yes, settings, expense settings, add expense category. No. Okay, expense dot category. Attribute airline 525 here. Expense. Okay, so this is business dot categories. No, business dot um, expense settings categories, like so. Run. Yes. Expense settings. Number two. Add category. Business has no attribute expense settings. Oh. Whoops. It's not the class business, it's business, the object right now, right? So yes. Settings, expense settings, add expense category. Woohoo! Current expense categories right here. That's printing right here. Add a new category. We'll say food slash drink. Didn't work. Okay, so we got value error. Catching clouds that out here for base exception is not allowed. Um, Lots of chats here. Sorry, you guys. Appreciate all the chats. Let me get caught up on them here. People doom too much about the CS market. Yes, it's competitive at the end of the day. It's on average a very high paying career and the job growth is projected to rise. Kind of half of the data scientists have bachelors, half have masters, maybe 10% have PhDs. I would say I have masters for the most part. The thing is that college is public, so it would be a lot harder to change majors if I realized something isn't right for me. I want to make sure I make a good choice. I thought for sure I wanted to do CS throughout high school, but now I'm considering all kinds of things: med school, law school, CS, mathematics. If you really think of it, you can grind CS, then I'd say go for it. I grinded hella hard and networked this semester and got some amazing offers. Awesome, dude. That sounds great. If I do end up committing to this school, I still have a bunch of decisions left. I would most likely do CS. The major has a low acceptance rate, and I am happy to I got in. However, if I get into a better college with a more open curriculum, I could take the chance to explore. Yeah, Muna. You know, I think that CS is one of the most universal degrees at the moment. Yes, it's one of the most competitive, but I think going into the future, having a CS degree will translate even more so than having a business degree. Because if I mean the way things are transitioning to, everything that we do is involving some sort of programming. There is not a single product on the market nowadays that doesn't have some sort of programming involved, whether it be some sort of website for advertising, or programming with its internal of the product itself, or some sort of downstream internal programming for planning it out, or whatever. It's involved in everything, and it's not going anywhere. Yes, there's going to be tools to make it easier, but I just think there people just like to doom and gloom about things way too hard and way too over the top, and it's I don't know, it's tough. Go Tanks, do you think you can land a job with what you currently know? I'm not sure exactly. We've talked about this before. I don't really have any like perspective, really, of like what kind of level I'm at. Like I said, I just am doing this in my room in my free time every day after work. So I don't have like peers or classmates or a TA or anything that's like telling me, this is what level you're at, or this is what I think you're capable of, or whatnot. So I really just don't have much perspective on it, and I hope that my abilities in my in chemistry and biology and that experience I have in that environment would help to get a job in help to at least to get me into an interview into this realm if possible. But I don't think that it'd be a super. It'd be difficult because I'm competing against a lot of people. But at the end of the day, this isn't about me finding a job because I already do have one. This is mainly about me just having fun, learning the material, and building things that I want to build. I just find the concept of computer science and programming very, very interesting, and I think it just stimulates me and makes me want to do it. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. But if you want to be safe electrical engineering, like I said, you can branch into computer science jobs easy from electrical engineering. You might just need to try it out. You can absolutely change your major in the first year of college. Yeah, definitely. It doesn't really get too crucial about changing your major until you get about halfway through your sophomore year. Up until that point, you're really just taking generals, so you can really hop around from thing to thing, because you're not taking things actually in the major. You're just taking humanities and other sorts of courses to expand your general education. Hey, Martin Watson, welcome back. It's awesome to hear from you. How you doing? Robotics might be coming for those jobs, so I don't know. For real healthcare, the safest. Yeah, I'm having trouble initially choosing, but once I chose something, I will grind it out to make sure I'm really good at it. That's a great idea. Best CS job is definitely in the engineering side of stuff. CS itself isn't very useful. Has every university lowered their CS acceptance rate due to the job market? I know my university did it by like 90%. I'm curious to see if if colleges are going to start drastically lowering their CS acceptance rates, and um, you know want willingness to let people transfer into that major just because of the amount of students that are in there, and the amount of students and the amount of negative feedback that intuitions or institutions, sorry, have gotten regarding their graduates. I've heard through the chat and through a lot of other people that the various institutions are getting negative feedback regarding their graduates and their abilities to program right out of college. So I wonder if they're trying to truncate their acceptance rates to help just find the people that actually are interested in this for the concepts and not for the money. I'm really interested in computer science topics, especially more theoretical ones, but I'm also interested in law and medicine. I like to have a stable, long-term, financially comfortable career, I've heard. Martin said, mine's just expanded the CS department. Granted, it used to be a niche thing a few years back. There's ageism in some career fields. CS careers, I don't want more likely to be laid off when I'm older. I think Muna, I think you're honestly kind of thinking about it too much. You're young. You got a lot of years ahead of you. I think thinking about ageism right now is honestly not worth your time and effort. Um, I would really suggest that you know similar to what I'm doing is I did biology and chemistry, but who in this world is telling me that I can't learn computer science just because I have a degree in human biology and chemistry? doesn't mean I can't learn computer science. Just because you were to get a degree, whether it be in computer science or electrical engineering, doesn't mean you couldn't learn about healthcare and things along those lines. I think that there's often this wrong idea that once you choose a path, it's like in the bee movie. Like once you choose to be the pollen collector, once you choose to be the person that gets the last drop off the honey, whatever, it, you're stuck there forever. And no, it's really not the case. It's honestly the world is your oyster. It's you just got to be willing to open it up and see what's in there. Um, is it ageism thing? I think like senior level roles, you should be making lots of money by then or retire anyways. Yeah, I don't even worry about the ageism thing. Mike, I've been tracking my groceries and the eggs are very expensive. Yeah, I bet. Is this project he's making a good hire resume project? I'm not sure, Gotenks. What do people think? What do you think people think about this project? It's fairly simple in terms of just the actual structure, right? It's using basic Python and functionality with functions, loops, lists, sets, and things like that. But all together, I've kind of compounded all of these basic tools into a project that could have some application to people that don't know how to track individual expenses and inventory or don't care to and just want to actually just upload it and have it do it for it on the back end. So, you know, uh, I think it has some real world application. Waiting for you to complete the tracker so I can enhance my tracking. I don't know what's a good project anymore. I've done some serious work, but they don't accept. Who knows what's a good project is? Nice. Lots of chats. Sorry, guys, getting caught up on the chats here. Thank you guys so much for being here. For those that are new, my name is Michael. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry. I graduated from college back in 2021. I have a job as a formulation chemist for a biotech company. I have been doing that for 3 years. I manufacture biological controls for diagnostics for patients and clinics. It's really quite fun, and I've been teaching myself Python after my 9 to 5 job for about 6 months now, just to as a personal passion of mine and as wanting to continue my education without having to pay thousands of dollars to go back to school for it formally. So if that's something that you're interested in in studying alongside me daily, then consider following along to the stream. Thanks so much for joining here. I stream every single day. I have a Discord linked below where I compile all of our resources that we learn completely for free. And so yeah, thank you guys. I don't think they weigh heavily. Projects depend on your role. Some metrics are cool, but mainly experience and tech stacks you've used. I'm in the same boat right now. I'm learning from after work till early morning. Nice, Matthew. Nice, Martin. I'm glad you're feeling better. Awesome, let's go. That gives me some hope. Yeah, that COVID time was crazy. The B movie, yeah, that is true. I'm honestly going to stop bringing it until I find out all my decisions. That's my main target in school, so I've just been considering it. And it's taught in English. That'd be cool going to China, taking school. It'd be kind of scary with the current climates and stuff. Okay, where were we? So we got this error here. Type error, value error, expense classes, line 557. Type error, add category, missing one additional argument, new cat. So we go business dot add category, business dot add category. Yes, settings, expense settings, add expense category, food, drink. Missed it again. business add category new expense dot title. Set has no attribute sort. You can't sort sets then. Set dot sort doesn't exist because sets are unordered, meaning they don't have a specific order. They can be changed. If you want to sort a set, you can convert it to a list and then use the sort method on the list. This will give you a sorted list. How can I achieve uniqueness and order? To achieve combination of a set and a list, you can use an order dict from the collections module if you want to maintain the order of insertion and uniqueness. Using a set and list combination, you can use a set to ensure uniqueness and then sort the results by converting the set to a list. Okay. So we can't call sort on that guy because it's a set. We'll just add. And then if we want to sort, we can do it. We can do def sort categories. Taking the object itself, right? And then we'll say if not, or if self dot expense settings categories, right? Then we'll go ahead and convert cat list sorted is equal to list the self dot expense settings categories, right? And then return the cat list sorted. Else we'll say raise error when A is empty. Guess we'll just raise a value error. I'll say no current categories. Sorry. Right, we'll say error. No current categories to sort. All of our professors don't speak English that well anyways, 5K a year. Yeah. I think you can use a tree set, by the way, for that functionality. Not sure what it's called in Python. Yeah, I don't know what a tree set is. I'm not sure about that. I've never heard of that before. Okay, so that's how we can sort the categories by returning the list of categories, if there are categories to return. So if the length of self.categories is greater than 1, then do this. Else no current, um, else return and then we'll set this. Like so. Okay, so now we'll add the category. Yes. Settings, business settings, no, settings menu, expense settings, add expense category, food slash drink. Okay. Did that work? Let's go to our business JSON and let's go expense settings menu. So we need to have a save happen there. So if we go if we clear terminal, we press Q. So we clear terminal, we press 1. We say, here's the categories. Here's a new press Q to quit. Here's your new category. If they press 2, we clear the terminal and then call else. We would try to add it. Except if a value error, we do this. We clear terminal, go business settings. But we need to do a save file and type equal business.json, right? And then go expense settings. So here, yes, settings, business settings, no, sorry. Settings menu, expense settings, add expense category, food slash drink, right? Settings menu. Ah. So let me go here, let me go business settings, or expense settings, add new category. Okay, there, it's saved in there, but it didn't save in our thing here. Their file. We have all expenses in here too. So let's go to my save file. I'm dumping the business.dict onto the file with a for indent. So if my shoot. Right, so we have business to dict here. To dict. Business to dict here. Okay. that's what it's saving. So what if I want to save the entire thing? Do I have sorted categories, add categories, to dict, update revenue, and initialize revenue? My expense class, I have a return self dot details. Then we'll say categories here. And if we run, yes. Okay, so now we're getting the it's not serializable again. So what's not serializable? Categories, which is a set. Let's take this and here. The error you're encountering is because JSON dump method cannot serialize a set object directly. The set type is not natively supported by JSON. That's why you're seeing the type error. To resolve this, convert set to a list before passing it to JSON.dump. Okay, so business class. So we'll do the sort categories method. So it returns or just updates it. The current categories. Oh, that's add cat. So we want to sort cat. If the length is greater than 1, we convert it to a list, sort it. Sorted. So we return to a list, we sort it, and then send it back as a set. So then in here, we convert it to a list. We just need to call this returns. Let's just keep it as a list, I guess. Let's keep it as a set. keep it as a set. We convert it to a list. There. I go yes. Settings, business settings, no, expense settings. Add expense category, food, drink. Right now it's empty. I go add expense category, it should be there now. Food, drink, cool. Press Q, I can quit. Expense JSON, now it's there. Perfect. So then if I go add expense category, let's say it's transportation. Right, there it is. Perfect. So now we need to do the same thing for the methods, though. So we need to, let's go into here, though. We'll say that this is going to be expense categories. And then here is expense methods, like such. We'll go list self dot expense settings methods, right? Like such. So then we need to have pretty much the same functions here, but for add method. So let me copy these two functions down. Let's say add method. Self new method. Stir, if not is instance of a string new method. Right, raise the value method that the new method must be type stir. If new method not in the self.categories methods, right? Self.expense methods dot add new method, right? Else the new method is already within the current categories. So, I mean, why am I... Let me just do this. Let me just make it a list, whatever. And then like go sort categories. It's not string, do this. If it's not in categories, dot append new cat, else it's already in. Sorted. We don't need to call list on this. We can just keep it here. And we're not going to return a set. Just going to return the list. Same for the goes for here now. So if method must be stirred, method not in this self dot append the new method, raise this length of methods is greater than 1. We're going to do sorted, not on a list. It already is a list on the methods. And return that value of method sorted list. So because it's a list, we can just call dot sorted here, or dot sort, right? That doesn't return any value. That just sorts the methods, and that's that. So this will be sort methods. There, add method, append new method. So then it will sort categories. We'll take this out, take this out, dot sort, like that, no return, like so. Right, and so then we'll call here on the add category sort categories. We'll call self.sort categories. Right, that adds it. We'll call self.sort methods here. All right, let's get caught up on the chat. Sorry, you guys. Appreciate you guys jumping in here and talking with me. Right now, we're just working on the Small Business Manager project. We've been writing this project live on stream for the past few months. It's a little bit longer of a project than we've previously written before in our in our Harvard CS50P course, the first ever Python project we wrote for the final project of that course. We wrote a basic inventory tracker system. All right, we leveled up from there by writing a new project, a task tracker system, which took in tasks and tracked them over the course of days. Those tasks had the ability to expire as the user, loaded the program in on a new day in the future. So we were tracking them over the course of their days, which was really cool. So we have a working task tracker project, and now we're leveling that up even further and creating a small business manager project. So all of these previous projects, have built up on one another, but just their concepts changed. So now we're doing a small business manager where we're doing inventory, we're tracking over days, but now we're also managing expenses across the inventory, and then referencing those two data points to generate revenues, incomes, all that kind of information. So really, really cool we got going on right now. So we have the add category method that we added, and we have sort method, sort categories. So the add category automatically does the sort. So we specifically did the sort. We do a sort if it's greater than the length of one, meaning that we can do a sort, else we'll just return that value. Um, and so, yes, right. Um, we don't need to return a value. We're not returning a value here. So we would say, um, just this, right? Basically, that's all we would say. Um, a tree set basically is like a set that keeps everything in sorted order. Time complexity is log n for insertion and deletion. Ah, interesting. So what cut down on writing that function is it's called a sorted set in Python from a sorted containers module. Oh, the set is unique. I don't believe you can have duplicates. Yeah, sorted containers seem to be an external package. Um, yeah. Currently making another console-based game in C++. Awesome, Script Serpent. That sounds really cool. What kind of game is it? The hardest part is not pointers and references, but the number of functions prefixes you can use. The error checking isn't bad, but I feel it's kind of redundant unless you parse the input. It's always a string. A sort method doesn't return anything after sorting. It sorts in place. Why is it not? Yeah, so we're not returning anything. That's why I got rid of that. Okay, so when we add a category, it sorts with after the add, right? And it calls this the sort categories if it's greater than one. And then we have the same thing for methods here. So now what we can do is we can go up here to our expense settings menu. We are adding, in case one, we're adding in an expense category. Now what about in case two? So in case two, we're printing current expense methods. So this will be business dot expense settings quote methods here. Right. We then say new expense. We get input, new expense method. If it's Q, we clear. Else, we'll do business dot add method for this new expense dot title that was just given. We're going to do this within this statement here. So I'm going to take this else block here. And C, and paste that here. Settings. So this will be add method, new expense method. We'll continually loop while it doesn't. You can go to settings menu. We will clear the terminal here. We'll save the file here for type equals businesses.json. And we'll call expense settings here, like so. Right. Cases don't have breaks, and then this will cause problems with the default case if you have one. What? Have you learned about temporary operators and lambda functions yet? No, I haven't. Well, kind of, but I haven't really gone to a deep dive of lambda functions and stuff. We solved the leak code problem the other day, which required a lambda function for reversing a dictionary. But we didn't really, we just had to look it up. We didn't really get into it. Okay. Um, so I get what you're saying. The match cases don't have breaks. Well, my create menu function, which is corresponding the match numbers to the inputs in this array within its parameter, You have a prompt and an array of parameters or selections to select from. The create menu function has the looping going on under the hood. Yeah, I took care of that at the very beginning because I didn't want to really handle it each time. Right, because you put in a prompt as your parameter one, and then your parameter two is an array of selections, and then those correspond um, index plus one to the cases in the match case. Okay, so now let's go. That should work now for the methods too. So if we run the program, businesses JSON is here now. Let me actually go here quit first. Let me go ahead, let me delete this file, right? And then let's run, see what happens. Boom. So right, I have this expense, I have expenses JSON, I have an expense already in here. My items JSON, I already have 3 items already in here. A couple of them are already sold. And so then now when I generated the program, we have businesses JSON now, which by default on the first run will have generate a default business name, and will generate a revenue from the business class here. So in the business class, the revenue attribute has an initialized revenue method associated with it, which just will go and index or go into our all items, detect which ones are sold, and create a dictionary slicing the date, getting the year from the date sold, and creating a dictionary, via all of the years and the revenues for those years. So that's what's going on here, right? As you can see, we have 60,000 cents, U.S. cents, being added to, or being indicated for 2025. So if we go into our items.json, you can see this has a date sold. So does this one, and so this is 50,000 and this is 10,000. So it's adding them together and giving us that 60,000 in the businesses class here. Yeah, list comprehensions we've learned about. Whenever I try to incorporate a list comprehension when I feel that I can. We actually incorporated a pretty cool list comprehension within my program here, in the find edit item function here. So this was a list comprehension that we made a couple weeks back, where I wanted to create a list basically to display to the user for all of the items. When you're searching for an item, each item has a unique item number, but if you have a search parameter for name or for date, those could have duplicates, right? So if you were to search by name, it would pull up and create a list comprehension of all of the items in the all item found items, right, that have that name. So we have been able to create list comprehensions here within our programs, for the most part. Whenever we can, we try to detect when, oh, this would be a good opportunity for one. Let's try to put one in here. But zipping and unzipping, no, I have not heard of that at all yet. So we do have a copy of Fluent Python here in my dictionary, or my library here. So Fluent Python on the bottom, that we are going to get to eventually, which will go into some more intermediate and advanced syntax and comprehension in Python. So soon we'll get into that. I just didn't want to take on too many projects at once. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Right now we're working on the Small Business Manager project in Python. We've been writing this project from scratch. This is not a tutorial project. This is completely independent, 100% my own ideas and code, as well as the chat helping along when they can. Thank you guys so much. Right, we can take in items, expenses, and have a business now that can track all those informations across the item and expenses together. And now we're starting to actually build this project together to a point where a user can actually, use it. It's kind of at a point here where we're getting maybe 75% of the way there. And then once we get to a point where you can add items, there's no bugs, you can add items, expenses, and then we have just basic information for pertaining to the business itself. Based on that information, we can then just push the code from there, have a working version 1.0, and then continually update the project with additional statistics that business users might want. So we can just first get out like a basic. This is the revenue. This is the total expenses. This is your revenues for these years. Yada yada yada. And then hopefully we can push that, and then we can add features for generating reports, or adding additional statistics, or creating more user modularity by having the user actually create and add in their own attributes for these items and expenses in case they would need specific things to tailor to their business. So it could get really elaborate really fast, which is kind of cool, but it's also going to be challenging. And but day by day, guys, we'll take it day by day. What kind of projects are you guys working on right now? Let me know what you guys are studying, and if you guys are really trying to, work on projects independently, and are you guys watching tutorials? Let me know what you guys are working on um, in your own free time here. Okay. So, so now we have the methods are coming up. Perfect. Right, the methods are coming up. And so now we can go into the settings menu. Oop, no, whoops. We can go into the settings menu, go to business settings. Oh, sorry, settings menu, sorry, expense settings with two. Add expense category. Let's just call this food, drink. Oh, there it is. Woo! Get populated live right in there. Nice. Now let's add another one. Let's say transportation. Oh, yes. Sweet. So now that gets saved in there. And now if we go, let's go add expense method. Expense method. Okay, let's say credit card. No. Okay, so now we have this same error that we were getting before. We have the same error as before, where we're trying to inherit a base class, add method. Right here. So we're trying to add a method, line 557 here, business method dot title, key error methods, business class dot append here. Okay, so now let's try it. Yes. Settings, expense settings, add expense category, food, drink. Okay, cool. Add category, transportation. Cool. Add expense method. Um, credit card. Oh! All right, let's get 5 booms. Boom, boom. I love that video of that guy. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, David, that your brother died. Let's give 5 booms for David." Boom, boom. It's so terrible. Awesome. Um, I haven't dropped a video yet, but it's called I Made Claude at Home. Let's go. My tweet vanished. I made a project called Easy Diffusers. Yeah, I don't think that tweets can be, I don't think it allows hyperlinks or URLs in the chat. So if you have a project, please showcase it in the Discord in the project showcase thread. Just make a little thread on there and throw a little project and let people, gain inspiration and show it off. A lot of people really like checking those out. Mm. Bontrell, All I'm saying, Michael, is that I was one of the first to tune into these lives. I was one fit squad at the time. Oh, awesome! Thanks for telling me. I didn't realize that you were one fit squad. Awesome. That's sweet. Cool. Thanks for being here, man, and thank you to everybody that's been here. It's really been quite the journey here. You know, I honestly, I started this 6 months ago not knowing a single line of code. I had never opened up a Python file before. I had never read Hello World. I didn't even know what that was. All I had done was written some simple stuff in Excel with like average the two cells together, right? So to go from nothing 6 months ago to being able to import all of these modules, know what's going on, creating our own, data structures here with classes, object-oriented classes, saving files in, JSON format and CSV format, successfully being able to debug and convert and refactor our code from CSV into JSON format, adding additional features without, really too much hiccups. It's really um, it just really is proving our point here that this progress and this time and dedication that we are doing is working, right? We're not reinventing the wheel in anything. We're not creating something that is going to make us $1 billion overnight. It's not going to be the next Facebook or whatever, and that's not my goal here. I really don't care. I'm not in this for a monetary gain or anything like that. The only monetary value, the only value that I'm seeking out of this is not monetary. It is intellectual value. It is non-tangible. It is, it's in my mind, and then whatever else comes from it is a byproduct and just a cherry on top. So I just really enjoy this whole process of learning and teaching myself stuff. It's very rewarding, and it you grow as a person. It teaches you a lot about yourself and how to, understand yourself, your own ways of thinking, your own ways of approaching certain problems, and just being an overall better student and person. So thank you guys truly so much for joining me. If that's something that sounds interesting to you guys or along the same lines of your own philosophies or ideals, then consider following along the channel here. Using this channel as a way to hold yourself accountable is a great way. I know a lot of people have struggle with setting aside those 2 or 3 hours a day to improve themselves and make themselves better within education and their intellect. So use this as an opportunity to say, oh, Michael's streaming at 7 p.m. every day. Well, I'm gonna hop on and join him and work alongside him on whatever it may be, whether it's working on with him or whatever he's doing, or just on my own project, and just setting aside that time to make myself better and have try to at least invest in myself for a better future. So thank you guys truly for joining me here. I really appreciate it. So right, we successfully were able to add in those two features of adding and having the categories and methods for this business be saved. So now what I want to do is when you actually add an expense, you have the option to put in a category or put in a method for that individual expense. So when the user provides that, we want to either give them a list of current categories that are already loaded and say, okay, print or select one from these categories, or create a new category and add it in. So that's what we'll do here. And so now we'll say we have the expense menu here where we have add expense by pressing 1, and we have the add expense function. So let's go ahead and find that function here. Add expenses right here. So we say add expense. So we get a date, we get an amount, we get we generate a new expense off of that date and amount, and then we start adding, updating the actual, attributes of this expense that are not required for instantiation, into the expense itself. So we have this categories thing here. So we're going to say, instead of set name here, we're going to say, okay, so this is where we need to have things happen here. So this is right here is where we're getting the category and the method from the user. So instead of set name here, what I'm going to do is go new expense category is going to be equal to create menu function. Prompt will be the prompt for this will be expense category, right? And then the list of options are going to be a list comprehension of the categories inside of the current list of categories. So we're going to say um, right, so currently self dot, sorry, self dot on the business class, self dot expense settings categories has a value of a list. So that's what we can directly just put inside of here. So self dot, no, so business dot category dot expense settings quote categories, like so. The list can be generated right inside of there. Right, that'll return the one that is selected back to us. If the new expense underscore cat so if the new expense underscore new expense cat not in so right, then we won't need to do this then because we already are doing this in the expenses.py with the business.py in the add category method, or in the, yeah, right, so add category already does this if it's not in there, adds it in, else it raises this value error. So we will go try business dot add category new expense category, right? Except if we get thrown a value error from this that I custom wrote in, except if we get a value error uh, right, except if we get a value error, which happens to be the value error is already in the current categories, we're just gonna pass. See, create menu will return back to us the selected value option from here. Right, it returns the user input as a string. So we have to match the case. Oh, shoot. New category, create menu. So it returns the value of the one that we selected. Our create menu function, so we get user input. And we return the user input back. So we need to match the case then. So the expense category, So the new expense category, the list of options. What do I want to do here? What do I want to do here? So the expense category, right, we're using the create menu function to return back a category. And the create menu function is going to return back the value associated to the prompt here. So we need to have them be able to add a category though. So can I create a list? Can I also say here plus quote new category like that? So we might have to maybe create temporary options. Let's go 1 expenses, add expense, yes, 10 for amount, description, test. Okay, here we go. Can only concatenate. Okay, so then we'll concatenate a list of new category to that list of categories so that we can have that option as well. Yes. Expenses, add expense, yes, 10, test. Okay, expense category. We didn't have any pre-existing categories, so that's why. So I go yes. I'm gonna say that, whatever. Okay, so that's kind of what I want, but so we need to do match new expense category, match, yeah, new expense category with the following case of length of the business dot expense settings categories like such. We're going to match this plus 1. So temp or new cat number is equal to this, right? And then we'll say if the case is equal to new cat number, then we want to get user input user so here user input here, user input here, right? So user input, this will return a string value back to us. So we'll stir this user input. A new cat number here. Now match user input with stir new cat number, right? So if it's the new cat number, we're going to get new cat is equal to input new category like so dot title then we'll go try new cat dot no business dot add category new cat, except if you get a value error, right? We want to, except if we get a value error, right, the add category throws us a value error if it's already in there. While user input does not equal quote Q, print category already found, already present, right? Input user input equals this. \n press quote Q to quit, like so. So once they quit, they'll be out here, and then what happens? Hmm. All right, let's get caught up on the chat here. Thanks everybody for coming in and leaving a chat. Von Trell says, "What's your study schedule?" Oh, sorry. Von Trell says, "Did you finish Fluent Python? I just bought it." No, I haven't finished it yet. I haven't even started it yet. So I don't want to start too many books or projects on the channel at once because then we'll just never finish anything. So my plan was to get through Harvard CS50, pardon me, hiccup, Harvard CS50X, and then probably start like geez Louise, come on. Harvard CS50X, and then start like a math course, like a calculus course to help get us going into math, and then once we complete maybe um, the data structures and algorithms book, we can hop into the Fluent Python. Or we can start. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? We can start whenever. What do you guys think? Thanks for the question, Von Trell. What's your study schedule? See you live at different times, and how long do you study? Yeah, so my study schedule is every single day. I study every day, or at least I try my best to. And so far, we have a current streak going on the channel. We've been streaming every day since about Thanksgiving time. We've been streaming Thanksgiving of 2024, so a little over 2.5 months that we've been streaming every single day. So a really, really good streak going on. I do have a vacation plan coming up in a few weeks, so we might have to break that streak actually. I might have to come up creatively with something. I probably will still upload a video or something while I'm on away on vacation, but we will have to break the stream streak, unfortunately. But that is okay because all good things in moderation, right? We have a really good thing going here with the stream, with the coding, with our progress. It'll be good to take like a 3 day step away to really reevaluate our current learning and then come back fresh. And it's good to take a step away every once in a while and come back. It could be really beneficial actually. So I'm looking forward to that actually. So, but I do want to keep the streak alive if I could. But I usually try to stream at 7 p.m. every single day. Today was a little bit earlier. I had a little bit of a fluke with work today, but yeah, I was able to come on a little earlier today. But normally around 7 p.m. Richard says full diving into a process is one of the best human experiences. It starts to fill you with energy, and in a way, you become the process. Money is great, but a process that one loves is better than gold. Yeah, exactly right. Time is how we spend our time is truly the most valuable thing ever. So if we're really enjoying our time and we're choosing to spend our time learning this, then it's got to be something that we really enjoy, or else I wouldn't be doing it. I'm a true believer that you only get a certain amount of time in life, and why would you waste your time and your life doing something you don't want to do at the end of the day? Especially in a free country like the United States of America, like we are in. So which I'm lucky enough to have been born into, for the freedoms that it's given. But I, you know, it can be easily taken advantage of or taken for granted. All that opportunity that we have here. Python is pretty simple about grammatic wise. You can learn just about everything in Python in a few months. I learned Python via Udemy web course called Introduction to Python. I don't think it exists anymore though. Kind of sad I missed a programming challenge. That's my specialty there. Awesome. That sounds really cool, Martin. Thanks for sharing that. I'm sure other people found that useful. Tim, Mike, stop running from threesome. No, I can't. I don't want to do it right now. I can't. I don't want to. I just finished and there's 420 lines of code. Nice. Richard asks, are you looking at a help sheet slash guide for this project, or you do just note all of this? Yeah, I am 100% being honest here when I'm telling you guys this. I am not looking at anything on any external screens. My laptop is right here in front of me. I have OBS taking up the entire screen on my laptop. And I'll be completely honest, my monitor, I have a single monitor right here, which is what you guys see live on the stream. That is what you guys are seeing right now. I have no other monitors or anything along those lines. So everything that you do see is 100% me coding live, everything coming out of my head, right? I'm right, but I do spend a lot of time thinking about the next features I want to add off stream, so that when I do come in I do have some sort of idea about where I want to go. But I think I messed up my thing here, so I need to just quickly change that over. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so no help sheet, but I'm not ashamed to say that I will throw Chat GPT at a question about various like a method or something or a function that I'm not sure of or can't really remember exactly of. But I really try to avoid, like I say, just copying my code blatantly, shoving it in there and saying, hey, tell me where I'm wrong. If I do need help and don't know where I have an error, I will copy my code and throw it in there, but I'll preface with, hey, I am showing you my code. Please explain in words, right? Ways I can improve, etc. Right? So I'll say, can you please, like, in words, tell me to just eliminate the like that whole aspect of just, you know, copying what it says at value, at whatever, without really looking. Hey SSLO, welcome in. How's it going? Muna, MIT could be good. Of course, could be good for math. Yeah, actually, Muna on the on the channel. We started the MIT 6.042J course, the Introduction or Mathematics for Computer Science course. It really started heavy in week 1 and 2 into proofs, and I watched the first lecture and I got about 10 minutes into the second one, and I was like, oh, I don't really want to watch this. Like I don't know. It just started getting really dense really, really fast, and I just didn't think I was quite ready to keep up with that. It was talking about like Boolean expressions, which were used a lot in programming, which I wasn't super familiar with back then. Now I have a little bit more knowledge of, right? But it really started going deep into, like, he started giving examples of some certain proofs, like why you can't divide by zero, or negative numbers proofs or something. And like I knew that these were general rules that were true in mathematics, but did I necessarily know why, and was I able to convey it within proofs? No, I wasn't really at that level yet. And I felt that if I kept going I was really going to be struggling, so I decided to just not continue, and we hopefully will be able to continue on with that course. But the learning curve seemed pretty large for my level, which I'm not afraid to admit. Right? I don't want to be struggling through this stuff. I don't want to have to go back when I'm learning harder things and go back and relearn easier topics. I want to make sure I have everything under my belt right now. Could you say what monitor, keyboard, and mouse you use again? Yeah, so it's really basic. My keyboard is just the Apple Magic Keyboard, the gray one, not the touch bar, not the fingerprint one, just the normal one. Nothing special. And then I just use a Magic Mouse, just the black one. I will say I like Apple products a lot, but this guy sucks. I really really tried to give it the fair benefit of the doubt evaluation and tryout, and I can honestly say without a doubt that this is one of the worst computer mice I've ever used. Unfortunately, I really would like to like it, but I really miss a physical scroll wheel. It's just not very responsive, and it has just a lot of issues in my opinion. But my monitor, for those that care, it's nothing special. I did used to game a little bit, and I've completely stopped gaming. I haven't played a video game besides, like maybe my Nintendo Switch. I play Animal Crossing. I really like Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing, or maybe like Mario, and I play Mario with my girlfriend, or Zelda, every once in a while when a new one comes out. Um, I like I said, I don't really play video games at all besides just on the Switch every once in a while. And so I do have a gaming monitor. It's like a Dell 1440p, 165 refresh rate monitor or whatever. It's just I think it's a 27-inch slightly curved. Nothing, like I said, too crazy. It cost me like $250 with like an employee discount through my work, so through one of their benefit packages things. So it wasn't really too bad, but yeah, I don't really use it for anything worse, anything too crazy. Do you use a MacBook? Yeah, I do. I use the MacBook Pro M3 Pro, not the base version of the Pro chip, but the upgraded version of that chip. So I did get the upgraded GPU cells and CPU cells, and I also upgraded the from the 18 to the 36 gigabytes of RAM. Just because this computer's a beast. It's honestly the best laptop I've ever used ever. So I will give Apple credit in terms of their laptops. If you're not using them for gaming, they are just incredible work laptops for efficiency and productivity. Um, and just the resources that Apple has for note taking and programming and stuff is really nice. Um, but yeah, so I did upgrade the RAM and the chip. It's not the 60, it's the 14 inch. Yeah, the 14-inch one. So yeah, I will say though that I have been through the ringer with the Apple computers, so you can take my word for it. I bought the 2016 version, I bought the 2017 version, I skipped the 2018 version, I bought the 2019 version, and every single one of those computers I returned about 2 days after I bought it because the Intel chips were terrible, 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 terrible. They were just not they were not functional for the price. They were honestly $300 laptops that were $2,000. So I returned those. I was not going to do that. They were slow, they were laggy, they were really hot, they were loud. And so, but I finally gave Apple another chance on the M3. I skipped the, right, because I had my gaming, I was into gaming and stuff between like 2021 until now. I mean, I swapped out gaming hobby for programming. And so what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Um, Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Same, I have a beefy gaming PC, but I just recently bought a 48 gigabyte MacBook Pro, and man, it's been impressing me so far. Yeah, I mean, honestly, my M3 Pro, I didn't get the M4 Pro. I might go for the M5 in the next after one more year, and get some value out of my current trade-in, so my I don't lose too much appreciation on my laptop. But um, it's kind of, you gotta find to hit that sweet spot of every like 3 or 4 years to get that trade-in, so you don't lose too much value. But that's how they get you, right? But I will say that I render out my videos in 1440p. I stream every single day. I have never once heard a fan turn on my laptop, and I have never once had it get hot to the point where I felt it like extremely. Like obviously things can get warm just by the environment I'm in, but I've never had the laptop actually get warm in itself. It is the most powerful. It renders out my videos, my hour long form videos, in less than an hour itself. Like my hour and a half, it'll do it in about 50 minutes. So it, it it's great. I got no problems with it. Um, now does Apple need to fix the partitioning of the windows like with these glitching? Yes, it's terrible. It needs some work with its software, but they're usually pretty good about fixing that kind of stuff. What do you guys think? What kind of computers do you guys use? And like, let me know. Are you guys Windows users? Are you Mac users? Do you guys use Google? Are you guys use Chromebooks? Or do you guys use Lenovo's? You guys use? They're all PCs, but like they're different brands, really. I did have like a Razer. It's called a Razer Book Pro back in my freshman year of college. It was a really big, beefy one, like a gaming laptop, but I sold that one a while ago. I think I sold that one for the 2016 MacBook Pro that I bought that I then returned. All right. Cool. So the thing is we're trying to. Hmm. The thing is I'm not exactly sure. So what we'll do, actually, we'll say this. We'll say, instead of match case, we'll say if user input is equal to the this, if user input is equal to this, right, then we're going to go new category. We're going to add it, and else we'll get a quit, and else we'll continue quit. Else if the user input right, so else actually, so new cat is equal to the business dot expense settings quote categories, right, index user input so my create menu function is going to provide user input plus 1 back. So this will be user input minus 1. So then we need to do so this should be the length of the business plus 1. Yeah, new cat number like that. Okay. Else the new cat is this category that's already in the business expense settings categories, and we can move on from there. Right. So then we just need to do the same thing for methods. So here we'll go user input, create menu, expense methods, expense method, expense setting methods, plus this new method. Okay. We then get new method number for if the user were to select a new method, which is the length of this methods plus 1. So if there's 5 methods, the sixth prompt yeah. Then we do this here. Let's take this here. If user input stir new method number, right? Input new method dot title business add method for the new method. Accept a value error, we catch it. Method already in present, right? And then we get new method here equals methods minus 1. But we need to then take Um, we want to take we need to take the expense that we generated here, the new expense dot category is equal to the new cap here. And then here we'll say new expense dot method is equal to new method, like so. And that can get deleted. All right, let's try this out. Let's see what happens. Yes, expenses, add expense, yes, 10. Description is test, category, new category. Okay. Here we go. We got this error. This says oh, okay. We need to do whoops. We need to do this outside of the parenthesis of length. Like that. And then here as well. Like so. Now if we run yes, expenses, add expense, today's date 10, description will be test, category, new category will be food / drink. All right, let's see if this gets added here. Oh, it won't because we're not saving the expense at the end. New method. Yes, we'll say credit card. No note. Okay, so that accepted everything. Perfect. So now let's see if that's being saved anywhere, as we need to have the function itself for when it adds the expense. So if we get add method here, if we add a category, we're going to do save file type equals quote business.json, and we'll take this guy and also put it right here. So that's the only times where the businesses.json would update. So now if we run, so yes, let's first add in some categories. So yes, expense settings, add category, food / drink, add category, so we should see this up front. Yep, it's there. And we should see it in here. Yep. Category, let's say transportation. There it is. Cool. Now if we add a method, let's say credit card. We'll add a method, cash. Cool. So now if we go settings menu, main menu, expenses, let's go main menu, let's save. Okay, so now we have these hard saved in here. So now if we load back in, yes, it immediately overrode all of those previous ones. Okay, so why is it overriding? So in our start menu, we're calling this if business is JSON, else biz default. So here we need to go um, all self.expense settings. Business. If business JSON. We're creating a business based on the current name. Um, um, so if business underscore JSON, so if there is a previously loaded business file, we're going to read off of it. Create a class. Go, we're loading it in there into business JSON. And then we're creating the object. So then we'll say the expense settings is equal to the expense settings. Oh, so oh, okay. So we need to load in off of the file is going to be the expense categories. Business JSON expense categories. Like that. Right, we have revenue, name, expense settings, expense categories. Why doesn't this work? Expense settings, business class, expense settings, categories, Why won't this work? Hey, Natty Sanis, welcome in. It's awesome to hear from you. How you doing? So we have expense settings, categories is equal to business.expense settings. Doesn't like this. Let's see what it says. Look like you're trying to create a business object with attributes only all elements in business settings. You know what I'm saying? Business settings is equal to business settings is equal to business settings is equal to dictionary quote categories with business JSON categories business JSON expense categories. Like that. Closed. Then we call expense method expense or within settings equals quote methods like that. Like that. There we go. Hey, Insomniac, welcome in. Trash Ketchum, welcome. Yeah, we've been streaming here for 3 hours so far today. We started the stream a little bit earlier. We made a lot of progress on the small business manager today. We warmed up with a couple of problems in data structures and algorithms in Python, and now we're just trying to get some practice here on our project here. So, expense settings. So the business takes expense settings, which is a dictionary, which has categories and methods. And then the business's JSON has a list, expense categories. Perfect. So now we can run this program. Go yes. Here we go. Okay, so then we go like this, right? And then we assign business dot expense settings equals to that. And now we run. Yes. Okay, so now we can go to settings menu. Business is JSON. If we go um, expense settings, add category, food slash drink, add category, transportation. Okay, add method, credit card, add method, cash. Cool. Now if we go back to settings menu, main menu, we go to expenses, add expense. Yes, today's date, amount 10, description, test. Okay, now here we go. If we once I click this, we should see a list of the already generated categories as well as one plus more option for generating a new category. Yes! All right, so cool. So now we have category. We need to just update that syntax here. So expense category here. Right? So now we got to make sure we're selecting the one appropriately. So, right? Because we're saying we're not using match case here because we don't know how many there are. So we have to say if user input is equal to the length of the business's categories plus one, right? So we had two for our business categories, which are our length, right? Two is our length. So plus one would be this third category here, which would give us a quote three here, or a three integer here. We would convert that to a stir to detect it against the user input in the create menu here. So if I press 1 here, we will select food and drink. If I press 2 here, we will select transportation via this right here. So if I press 3, new category, okay? Let's say we have food and drink, transportation, let's say new cat test. Cash, we'll say it was credit card. Oh no! No, 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 no. Ah, shoot. Okay, so new method, business.expense, settings, end user input, -1 here. Doesn't like this. User input is a string. That's why. So we got to go int the user input in here. So we go yes. Did those save? Okay, those did save. Okay, and they still were populated in. Okay, cool. Yes. Okay, so if we go exit, yes. Okay, those stayed and saved. Now when we load, do those remain? They weren't before. Yes. Woo! Awesome. So now those remain, those categories. So I can go for settings, expense settings, add category, and there they are. Woohoo! And that new cat test is in there too, right? New cat test that we threw in there. So that's appropriately doing that, adding it. So now if we go Q, we'll just press Q, quit out. So we'll go settings menu, main menu, we'll go expenses, add expense, today's date, yes, amount 1, test for description. Okay, these are our options here. So we'll select food and drink. Okay, we got that error again. So we need to do, we didn't change that one here. So we have to int user input here. Right, so now if we go in, yes, expenses, add expense, yes, 1, test for the description, category would be food and drink, expense method would be credit card, and note, we'll say new note, test, and boom, and then if we go to expenses, category food and drink, method credit card, new note test. Woo! Yeah, okay, everything is working. That is so cool. It all works. Isn't that awesome when it just works right away? Right? So my math was right. So it might seem kind of crazy what's going on, but I'm using my create menu function that I wrote. I'm using my create menu function. I'm for a prompt on this menu, I'm using the expense category string, okay? And for my options to select from, my options have to be an array. And because right, the create menu will iterate through the options and create that menu effect that you see here. So I gave it the list of the categories, right? And then I also concatenated another list to the end of it of a new category, right? So now we get that new category at the end of all of our dynamic list here of, of the categories. So now we have the list of current categories plus one more option at the end to add a new category, right? In order to detect if the user selects this option, I had to create a variable here called new category number, which is the length of this variable plus one, right? Because the create menu will return the value of the selected option from this list, the index basically, plus one, right? The index plus one because it starts from one, not zero in the menu. So what happens is in order to select this new category option, you have to select this new cat number. So we say if user input is equal to the stir conversion of the new cat number, because remember user input is a string, this is going to be an integer, so we have to convert it to a stir, right? If the user input is equal to that, then we'll go ahead and get a new cat. We will try to add it using the add category and save it, except if we get a value error from the written in right here, right? If we add category, we get this value error that it's already in the category list, right? We're going to just loop and continue and say, okay, this category is already in here, press Q to quit, right? So just make the user know that this category is already in there, press Q to quit. And so that'll quit off of that. And then you'll go ahead and else, right, the new category is equal to um, whatever the user option minus one. Because remember, at zero index, we had a plus one here for that last one. We have to minus one to get access to the index of that category, right? And so then we just assign that new category, whether it was found here or found here, to the business that new expense that we're creating category, right? And so we do the same exact thing for the expense methods now. So right, the exact same thing, but for the methods, and then we add the method there at the end to that new expense. And so that's how that is being generated here is adding in that category and that method from there. So now let's say if we go into our program here, go add expense, use today's date, yes, amount, let's say is 10. Expense description we'll say is test 2, right? We'll say, so let's say that it is, let's say new category with number 4, and let's say that it is food/drink, right? So this gives me, okay, category already present, right? Food and drink is already present in this category list. Press Q to quit. So this will press, if I press Q here, we go to expense method, so we don't get a category. So maybe we should have the auto select the category if it was already selected. So we'll say, hold on, we'll say here for the category, if they press Q here, right? So we need to have the option to get back to this part here, to getting a new category. So add expense. So this will be, we'll make this a function then that says add category, add expense category, right? Add expense category menu. We'll throw this expense category menu here. We'll add it here, and we'll take all of this. If we right? So if they press Q, we'll want to run add expense category menu here to get back to this point in time here. And then we'll take this in its entirety here. Take this entire thing here. So then at the end, we'll return new cat here. We'll take this and x go cat equal here, that expense category menu there, that. Now if we run this, yes, expenses, add expense, today's date, one test, let's say new category, food slash drink, already in there, okay, boom, got back to here. So then if we get to this part, we're gonna want to clear terminal there as well. So yes, expenses, add expense, yes, 10, test, new category, food slash drink. Okay, it's already in there. Category already present. Let's put a backslash n here. Press Q to quit. And let's put a backslash n here. We press Q. Right, we loop back there. There we go, cool. All right, let's get caught up on some chats here. Sorry, you guys. Hey, how's it going, Carlos? Welcome. Carlos Sacedo, welcome. I appreciate you coming in. Insomniac, is this an inventory manager with sales? Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, Carlos, thank you for coming in. Appreciate you. If it was defined to add one, if it is existing, we'll show it already present. So you add a new category for a production item. Yeah. It should be added to total expenses list as well. My total expenses, right? All expenses is. What do you mean it should be added to all expenses? Hey, Code by Chris. Hey, I hope you're having a great stream. Can I ask why you're learning to code? Yeah, no problem. So, for those that are new, hello, my name's Michael. Thanks so much for joining me here. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. We stream every single day, learning Python live from a beginner point of view. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry. I graduated from college back in 2021 with that degree. I got a job right out of college as a formulation chemist at a biotech company that's where I currently work, and I've been doing that for 3 years, or a little over 3 years. It's a lot of fun. I make biological controls used in patient diagnostics and in vitro and clinical diagnostics and things like that. And so it's a good job. It's something I enjoy, but I wanted to learn how to program because I just was curious about the field. I always, being a physical scientist, thought it was so cool that we were able to create technology from these physical elements, literally rocks and dirt, and are able to create words on a screen is just mind blowing to me. So that's really why the drive comes from. Is just that sheer raw curiosity to learn more about this topic and subject matter. So we've been teaching ourselves for about 6 months or half a year. I started back in June of 2024 with Harvard CS50P. Um, I took that course alongside with Python Crash Course. I read this book live on the stream. This really helped to solidify and fill in the gaps left behind in Harvard CS50P. It was a great course for beginners, but it just also, like I said, it also has those gaps that don't really correlate to a true raw beginner that has never seen code before. David talks about, escape operators and /n in the first episode of that lecture of that course. And to be honest, if you've never even heard of an escape character or what backslash is, you're immediately at a disadvantage and immediately are behind. So I found this book online. Read a lot of reviews and I went ahead and picked up a copy. I read it live on stream and I completed all of the in-text try it yourself practice problems. I'm currently going back through on my channel and uploading solutions to these problems, so you can go find those on my channel and videos. And yeah, so that's where I started. We finished Harvard CS50P at the end of the summer, and then I created some personal projects to propel and propel my learning forward, I guess. So we created the inventory tracker system for the Harvard CS50P final project. Then we also wrote live on stream the task manager project or the task tracker project, which takes in tasks that can be tracked over the course of many days. The tasks have the ability to expire if they aren't, completed before their allotted time. And so we, had to, manage file I/O and tracking, and updating information according to new future load times of the program. So that was a great learning opportunity. And so now we're writing a project called the Small Business Manager, which will ultimately take in items and expenses and populate business information into a general business class, relating to this person's business, so they can have a one-stop shop to upload inventory from their items.json here. They can upload them in. They can upload their expenses as well through the script, and then they can also manage all this inventory by having various information's display for revenues across years and expense categories, methods, and things along those lines. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for a small business to manage all of their inventory and information. So thanks so much for being with me here. I appreciate all of you guys joining me here. What happens if you press Q? Yeah, the loop will come back. So in our function here, so we have this add expense category here, so we're going to need to do new method here for the same thing is equal to add expense method menu, right? And so then we'll take all of this functionality here, copy it, new expense method menu, which is going to be here, def add expense method menu, and we'll paste that right there. So then the one difference here is else we need to return new method here, like so. So that'll return those new methods at each of those points. Add a new expense method, add expense category. Expense method menu, new expense method. Cool. So hold on, really one quick second. We need to category. We do a couple different things. We call a clear here, and we also call add method menu here, there. So now if we run, we go into the menu, we go, so we have expenses are here. We go to settings, expense settings, add category, new category, food/drink. Okay. Okay, we got this value error here. So then we're not doing the detection here as well. So we need to say for in our expenses menu, so then in our expenses menu, expenses settings menu, we can go here. We can do here, right? Instead of all of this, what we can do is just call add expense category menu that returns a value. We go new expense category business dot add category new expense category. So add category, this one, what it does is it will expense, sorry, categories here. It will get categories, the current ones, generate a new one, and return back the new category. It adds it here. If it's new. So if it is not new, if it's not new, it's here, it just gets selected and then returned back to us from the current expense settings menu. And then we take the so this returns the category back. We add it in. But sometimes it doesn't return something back to us. Now, even if you add it in, right, even if it gets added in right here, you still return new category. So you still return the value if it's added. So you can add it to the expense. So in the business settings, we call this it adds it and returns it back to us if it's not there. And no matter what, it returns it back to us. So we don't even need this. Like that. So then if we do here, new expense method is going to be all of this is gone as well. And we call add method menu here. Because the method menu is the same thing. It returns it back to us. We don't want to do anything with it here. We just want to add in a new one. So the thing is though, is now as it's going to, if we go here, settings, business expense settings, add category, it gives us these. Current categories are here. Expense category. These are all categories, new category here. So I guess we don't really want to utilize this menu. It's not directly what we want because this one will return back to you either the new category you entered and add it in here or the one you selected. We just need to add into the new category ones that aren't previously there. So like if I were to select one here, it just goes back to expense settings and doesn't do anything. Yeah. Okay, so if that's the case for the expense menu, let's go back then to what we had before, which was here. We press Q. If Q, quit back. You try to add it. If you get the value error, we'll say as E. F E that. Like right E here and then like that. So now if we run, yes, settings, expense menu, add category. Current categories are these. Press Q to quit. New category. If I say food slash drink, uh-oh, new categories are within current categories. Right, so we threw that value error. Hmm. All right, let's get caught up in some chats here. I'm I'm so angry that AI because AI code editors and generators and GPTs took the fun out of coding. I'd be happy if AI couldn't code. Insomniac says we are adding one food, two drink, two Teslas. We are adding food slash drink to test a new category as part of expense category. So you need to add the new category expenses if you want to include new categories to all expenses list. Yeah, the new category is being saved in the expenses.json. And I mean, sorry, the business.json. The expenses.json list or the all expenses list is just housing the individual expense object. So I didn't want to mess with like headers or anything for this. So the business JSON is where we're housing all the individual information pertaining to the business specifically, like the expense categories, the methods, the revenues, the total expense costs, the all of that statistics, right? I think OpenAI deep search is going to cause your job some trouble. Did you ever learn? Did you ever learn Python or R for your degree? No, I didn't have to learn any programming for my biology chemistry degree. Create a mind map for the small business manager so you know what functions connect to each other. Yeah. Yeah, we haven't gotten into API stuff yet. We're currently just working on the local level. I hate that I can't collapse functions in C. Yeah, that's what's really nice. I like about help cleaning this up is I can collapse some of these down. Are you refactoring? No, we're just we're building adding in some more features here. So in the expense settings, we're getting this error here. Value except fire E expense settings. Tell your catching classes they don't inherit from basic. So we just need to have in the expense settings here, if they try to add, if we accept for a value error, we just press Q to quit. Go to expense settings. We don't want to do this or this. So if we run, go yes, settings, expense settings, add category, go food slash drink. We're still getting this here. So current categories. So it's already in. I don't want to. I don't want to raise the error. I want to like show it and then move on. Catching class. What is this type? What does this error mean? The error message type error catching classes that do not inherit from base exception is not allowed. Usually happens when you try to catch an exception that is not derived from base exception. In Python, all exceptions must inherit from base exception, and catching something that doesn't inherit will raise this type error. Exception. Okay. So we're going business is pi. We're raising a value error on the category. Insomniac, I'm not really sure what you're talking about, man. So we are adding a category. If it's not instance of a stir, we raise this value error. Um, so then if I put this in there, what does it say for this if I pertaining to that error? The code looks fine in terms of raising exception. However, the error you're seeing, type error catching class is not here from likely comes from the part of your code where you're trying to catch exception that isn't a subclass of the base class. This could happen if you're doing something like this. Try accept some string and correct exception type. Handle this error. Instead, you should catch only exceptions. Accept value error as E. Else. So this is if so we need to adding a method. This is a title category here. Try accept value error. Right. As E. I don't know if that'll work. Settings, expense settings, add category, food, drink. There we go. There, new categories already within current categories. Press Q to quit. So if you press A, press Q. There we go. I'll clear terminal here. So if I remove this, we say value error as E, and we print error E, right, like that. And then we give a \n here as well. We run yes, settings, expense settings, add category, food/drink, error, new category is already within current categories. Press enter. Cool, so then we'll give a \n here. So if I press A here, press Q to quit, Q, now we go back to, there we go. So let me go here, clear terminal there, like so, remove this one there. So now if we go run, yes, expenses, main menu, settings, make expense settings, add expense method, credit card, error, right, already within. Sweet. This will be \n. Nice. Yes. Settings, expense settings. food slash drink air air quit. Yes. Settings, expense settings, category, drink, air, and press Q to quit. A, there we go. Sweet. Oh, expense settings. If I go test, okay, so that worked out. So we need to do a clear terminal here and a clear terminal here, like so. Then we go yes. Test there now, cool. Settings, business settings, no, setting menu, settings, add category, test cat, cool. Add category, test cat, already there, quit. Add a method, credit card, already there, quit. Add method, test method. And it's right there. Sweet. Woo! Nice. All right, that solves that. All right, cool. So that's it. We have successfully incorporated the ability to add a category at the expense location. So you can go in, add an expense, today's date, amount, yes, description, test, category, pulls up the existing categories, allows you to add a new category. So 5, test, right? Make sure that wasn't in there. So category was in there. So, oh, now it is. It wasn't in there before. So that's why it allowed us to. So now expense method will go new method. If I say test here, it should give it back. Method already present, right? Quit. We'll say, okay, we'll take the test method then and no note. And boom, expenses JSON. That got loaded in there. Woohoo! All right. Yeah, we had that error checking handling. We already had the error being risen right here as the value error. We just needed to raise it as a variable rather than as a condition with the function here, right? So raising it as a variable error and printing it in here. Cool. Are you using a virtual environment? Code by Chris asks. I am not using a virtual environment at the moment. There's nothing I have currently installed into this current directory that would cause my Python to need a virtual environment. I know that it is probably custom or best practice to always be within a virtual environment, but I'm not using any specific version of Python or any third-party packages that don't already come with the Python imports. So right, I'm only using system, CSV, JSON, datetime. So nothing that really requires a virtual environment, but that doesn't mean we couldn't use one per se. But in my task tracker project, we used Cowsay, so we did use a virtual environment to handle that third-party package. Thanks for your comment, Code by Chris. Appreciate you for coming in. Hey, good night, Tim. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you for coming in today. Why are you using while user enter when you have already handled new expense method does not equal Q if an if else statement? Let's see here. Why are you using while user input not equal Q? Let's see. Oh, because I'm doing a specific loop at this stage here, right? So if they on this input here for the new category, they will if they select Q at this point, they can quit off of that menu, off this prompt here. But if they get thrown an error, they also have this loop happen to get past this error, right? So these if statements do not mean the same thing. These happens on a different scope. So this is more outside of the scope of this one. This Q prompt basically just is a way for the user to understand that the error got raised, press Q to clear it out and move on. I'll show you here. So if I go to my expense menu with main menu, settings, expense settings, add category, right? So right here, that's where I get this first option right here is the press Q to quit new expense category, right? With all of our current categories. Now I'll have to pretty this up to be a better display, but we'll do that eventually, sooner, little by little, right? So if I press though, um, if I press, what are my categories here? So my expenses categories are currently food slash drink. So if I type in food slash drink here, I get this local error here, right? So error, press category, new categories already within current categories, press quit. So that's what that quit does. So now it brings me back to here. I can add a category. If I want to press Q from this moment, I can quit right off the jump there. But that Q handles just that error, basically. So I go add category. If I say food slash drink, error, new categories already within the current press Q to quit. So it's two different inputs. This is a different user input than this one. Right. You are adding a new category to the expense list, right? No, we're not adding any new categories to any expense lists. The expenses.json are happening on an expense by expense basis. Now, in the settings menu, you can update the global categories and global methods for the expenses in total to allow for the user to have specific options to choose from per its business, or you can incorporate new ones with the option with the last selection. But the actual information of these categories are being saved within the business object itself because it pertains to information to specifically the business. I did this because I didn't want to have like a header on my JSON and my expenses. I wanted to just keep this entirely isolated to the individual expense objects. Yeah. Cool, Evil. Hopefully that helped. Yeah. Cool. So that was a lot of solid work on this project for today. I think I am going to go ahead and call it here on the stream. Or maybe I'll stay around for about 10 more minutes and hang out. How about we'll call it at 4 hours even. So we streamed today on this Monday 4 hours of live coding. We started off with about 45 minutes of practice problems in data structures and algorithms in Python. This book we've been reading live on stream, chapter by chapter, example by example, using AI to help break down complicated jargon. So right now we finished chapter 8 on trees, and we finished 8.5, 8.6, and 8. No, we finished 8.6, 8.7, and 8.8 today. We will go tomorrow. We will tackle 8, 9, 10, and 11, and hopefully start reading chapter 9. We will start continuing on with reading chapter 9, which is on priority queues. This book is everything you can find on this book or my notes or my projects is all within my Discord link below. I haven't pushed this project that we've been working on live yet. I'm planning on pushing this when we get a working version 1.0 that actually has some structure to it. And then we can work on like a graphic interface, like a GUI for the user. We can really start to incorporate any features once we have a good base structure. But we're almost there. Hopefully by the end of this month we can push that out, and it'll be really cool. So yeah, any general questions you guys have regarding the project, please let me know. I know I got a lot of questions from beginner programmers like myself, looking for information about where to start with projects. I will say that this project does look like it's got a lot going on, right? We have over in our script alone, we almost have 1,000 lines of code, and then we have all these data structures and files and stuff. So it is getting quite deep here, but just know that I'm not using anything that is not, a basic Python functionality. I'm using functions, I'm using iterating, I'm using lists, I'm using sets, dictionaries, I'm using if else statements, I'm using appends, I'm using basic Python tools, but I'm just compounding them together to create some sort of viable product, for the lack of product, for some real world application. So honestly, you guys, is if you can try to just be creative and don't limit yourself by thinking you need to reinvent some sort of grand, new elaborate system. No, no, no. Just take an opportunity to, um, you know, make something original. Like, try not to follow a tutorial, make something original that's already been done before, so that you, if you do get stuck, you can have something to reference back on, right? There's other small business managers out there. There's other ways people have calculated revenues and things like that. But by, I'm not reinventing anything here, but I am taking a unique and, 100% individualistic approach, writing my own system here. And, if it does get used by someone in the future, great. I probably will use it for my own small business needs. I run a small business clothing company with my girlfriend, where we resell and source, vintage clothing for a really, really good price, to just try to help out our environment and also our customers, get clothing that they might like. And so that's just something that we have, going for us. And it this will serve a direct purpose. And, if the whole goal though is that I'm learning, right? So that is really the key takeaway, is that I'm learning from this whole process. I'm continuing on my education, and, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not going to sell this for thousands of dollars to some large triple A corporation or whatever. No, 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 that's not the purpose of this. The value is in the learning that I'm getting from this, right? Yeah, when you fetch expenses categories, is string part of expenses as well? Yeah, when you fetch expenses category, is string part of the expenses as well? Yeah, so that auto updates, after you appropriately, select within the expense, right? So not only in the settings menu, the expense settings menu, did we allow for the user to be able to edit those parameters, but now within the actual generation of expenses, add expense, right? You add in the date and the amount to actually generate an instance of an expense, but then you can start adding, updating its attributes with a description of, like, test, category. This is right. This is what we wrote today. We are adding in all the additional categories. These are the previous ones already loaded, and then we have the option to add new ones. So if I press 6 and try to do food/drink, right, I get the categories already present. Please press Q to quit, and right, we get back to here. So and then we can select just the food or drink or cash credit, and then 0 for that, and then that creates that expense right there. So it all works together, and it's really, seamless to be able to get it, not seamless, but it's doing its purpose here of, interacting between all of the different objects, and, coming up with the valuable information we need, and, inserting it where it needs to go. So it's just a day by day thing, little by little, feature by feature, that we've been able to do this over the course of the last, 2 months. This has not been an overnight thing. This has been, probably over 100 hours worth of coding into this project alone. Yeah, it's not something super crazy that's gonna bring in a ton of revenue. No, no, no. It's just hours. It's 100 hours of learning and practice, basically, is what I'm attesting it to. It's an investment into my education. So thank you guys so much for joining me this evening. We streamed for 3 hours and 55 minutes. It's just over 9 p.m. PST for me. So a good, successful, almost 4 hour stream here on a Monday. I rarely stream this long on the weekdays because I do have work, but today I had a little bit of a different schedule today, so I was able to come on earlier. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. Please join the Discord link below, where I compile all of my study resources, from all of the LeetCode problems to the CS50X to the CS50P to the projects to the data structures and algorithms to Python crash course. Everything you see I'm studying is live in my Discord, there for you guys to also participate in. I really am trying to, provide an authentic beginner point of view of programming from a beginner's perspective, and really not try to leave anything out. I've been programming for a half a year now, and so it's been quite the process, and we have a long ways to go, but we've come a long way. So thank you guys so much for coming. Yeah, we'll have to incorporate some APIs or something. Maybe if we get like a graphic user interface, and then maybe make this a like um, an internet app or a web app. We could, have a cloud database to store the expenses and the information for the business and the items and all that. We could have all of that just fetch from APIs and pull in. But just one step at a time. Let's first get a working program in the CLI. Let's get some bare bones structure so we know how everything's supposed to work, and then we can transition it into something else from there, working version 2.0. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. Please message me in the Discord if you want to chat and talk offline. I'll be on there for the rest of the evening. But this was a great, almost two and a half hour coding session working on this project. We finally incorporated the categories and methods into the generation of the expenses and into the actual settings menus as well. And we have those appropriately saving within the business.json file information. So really cool. Thank you guys so much for joining me. That's the end of my ramble for tonight. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Trash. Thank you, LOL. High priority queues was my first data structures in my data class this summer. Awesome. Well, I'll be needing your help, LOL. Thank you so much for that comment. Thank you, Insomniac, for those suggestions and that help. Evil, SS Low, you're awesome. Tim, Code by Chris. Who else we got here? Carlos, thank you so much for coming in. Natty Sanis, like I said, Richard, Muna, I really hope you're working through those decisions on college. Don't take it too seriously. You're a freshman going into your freshman year. You don't really need to focus on trying to finish college. Just focus on trying to find things you like doing, right? Wing Hong, Avinash, thanks for coming in. I appreciate you so much. I have yeah. Mahan, thank you. Like again, you're awesome. Script Serpent, awesome. Martin, Von Trell, let's go, all you guys. All right, cool. I'll see you guys later. Feel free to throw a thumbs up on the stream and subscribe. It really helps to keep me going and supporting me. It really motivates. You guys don't know. Honestly, it really motivates to keep studying and wanting to keep coming back. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.